Hello. Good to be here. I'm in Florida right now. I was traveling through this summer after moving my mom into her new home, which is this, I'm in a room in her new home. And then I was through the Midwest and got to have like a lot of different great experiences. Then I was in Texas. That was very cool. It was actually hot, but it was a very like active, cool experience. And then I've been back here for a week and I'm about to go back to New York for the first time as like, not a local necessarily, not someone who has like a family home there. It was interesting. I had to set up where I was staying in my hometown for the first time. So there's been some like cool new experiences happening with the travel and personally finishing certain aspects of this project that is wrapping up the family home and like realizing like we wrap things up, but also like there's always the next part. There's always like the initiation into the next part. Hey Bonnie, I hope I see you in New York. I'll have to send you a message because I'm going to be there starting next week for a few weeks. So yeah, I want to tune in with the energies before we go into this week, which is an eclipse week, full moon, this changeover into a new season. There's just a lot. People are feeling a lot. And and I just was like, let's drop in and tune in on the messages that have been coming through for the last few weeks and I think into this week. And so the biggest themes I've been seeing for the month of September, August into September, my own life, the people I work with, people I'm just friends and aligned with, what I'm noticing is really, hey Avi, is really moving beyond the current, hey Lewis, moving from the current form, like letting things get bigger than the current form they're in. And so there's lots of ways to think of the terminology I'm going to share right now. But when my brother got into Qigong and he started working with a specific type of Qigong, this language kind of came to me that I think is really helpful. So there's the idea of things that are in form, right? Like this room. Oh, thank you. Thanks so much. It's, Florida, the Florida sun, the form of like the phone and just everything here and the form that our lifestyles and our situations are taking. And then there's the formless, and that's the energy. It's the feeling, the sensing, the energy of things. And so I feel like it's really helpful to think of things as form and formless and to remember that anything that is form was once formless. Like the idea of everything was once an idea, right? Everything was once a concept. Everything was once a desire. Hey, Susan. But what about even before that? Because that in its way is almost a form too, right? A goal, a desire, a dream. But how about even the place before that? And so everything that's a form now was once formless in as expanded a version of formless as we can even think of. And some of the things we want to take a new form or are working towards a new form, we can just trust like that is happening. It's just still in the formless right now. And so something I've noticed and by the way, I just like feel this collectively for us too, because we're in this Pisces energy right now, and there's just a lot of mystery and formlessness to what's going to happen. Even the predictions, even the ways we're trying to create form, especially in America right now, it's all still pretty formless. There is still a sense of like, what is happening? And so if we're uncomfortable with the formless, with things not yet having a structure, not yet having a semblance in the physical field, not yet even being an idea yet, like that space between breaths, or like that place where it's before the spark of even the idea. Like there's a lot of things that are still in that place. And so it can feel really destabilizing. And something I've noticed for a lot of my clients in the last several weeks, especially, is like having to let go of the form, being disappointed of like, wow, I was putting together this huge project and there was so much energy and excitement about it. And now I'm trying to, when it was still in the formless, there was so much excitement and so much great feedback. And now I'm trying to give everyone the form and I'm not having the response I thought there would be. Or, I'm riding a huge peak. I've done all the work. I've done all the things and I'm getting to have the form exactly how I want it to be. And then all of a sudden, like a crisis at home or a health crisis. Or, the stuff we most fear happening or we were trying so hard to prevent taking form. The things that we were like, oh God, please stay in the formless. Please stay in the formless. Stay in a concept. Stay as an idea. Stay as an energy. And then all of a sudden it's a form that we have to confront. And kind of riding a high and getting the rug pulled out from under us, or realizing also, I just was working with someone who's realizing like the things that created inspiration and motivation aren't doing that anymore. Like they've done all the work they're going to do with that form of inspiration or motivation. And what's the next thing that's going to inspire and motivate their work as an artist or their life? What is that? And so it's like being in the mystery of this uncomfortable sort of mystery. And so the thing that I keep seeing show up in these experiences and even in my own practice is like, first of all, okay, I have to get bigger than the form. I have to stop. The way I keep seeing it in sessions a lot is like, I have to stop being on the floor playing around with these little pieces and the puzzles. And like, I'm thinking of that meme, from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he's got like the million little pieces of paper trying to draw, all these connections to each other. Like sometimes we have to get up from that like place on the floor where we're like hovering and trying to figure it out and trying to crack the code and just be like, this isn't it. There's something that's getting bigger or changing in form. So I have to be willing to move beyond the form. I have to be willing to get bigger than the form or the circumstances I've been so sure had to be the ones. And so I keep seeing that happen. And then it's like, when we really are willing to do that, then the bigger spiritual theme that I see happening is, a lot of us are really getting into our forever work. Like a lot of us are actually getting in touch with the biggest theme of our life. This is, we've been in the work, we've been in the training for a long time. Like every generation has the unprecedented moment of life, but I'll say it again, we're in an unprecedented moment collectively of life. Hey, Alexa. And a lot of people I see are like getting in touch with like, oh, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm doing. And so for some people, that is coming into form. And for other people, they're still working through like, okay, what I've focused on is not it. And the deeper thing I'm going to commit to for the rest of my life, and it will always be a theme, is not quite here yet. So a lot of us are in this either making connection with like, oh, this is my work for the rest of my life. Or we're realizing this is not my work, relationships, whatever it is for the rest of my life. But there's a permanence, there's a desire to be with things that are incontrovertible and permanent right now, because things have just gotten like really foggy and hard to trust in all different ways. And the truth is, the thing that is incontrovertible and permanent is always going to be formless. And so this is a moment before this full moon to really get comfortable with the formless energy and to really become more devotional to the formless energy and just trust, okay, like different forms are going to keep happening, different forms that I didn't expect. And it's all part of the thing I'm committed to and connected to. And so the kind of questions I see happening from that, and we'll just take a moment and just kind of drop in, because these words have a frequency. And maybe just making a connection to like, what are the forms in my life? What are the forms in my life I really like? What are the forms in my life I'm not loving? What are the forms in my life I can feel are changing? Even though I might not even have like any proof that these forms are changing, but what am I sensing in my life is changing? We're coming into a new season right now. And then just realizing this is an opportunity to get in touch with the formless. And if I'm getting in touch with the formless, if I'm getting in touch with the work that's really been my work, my mission, my whole life, even before I understood what that was, and I can see it's just going to be what my life is about. I can see it's the gift I'm bringing. It's the part of the legacy that's mine. Because we are co-creating a legacy right now. Then like maybe I can work with this differently than I assumed I could or would, or other people assumed I could or would. Maybe if this is the culmination, if I'm right now meeting a culmination point of like the deepest work of my life, like maybe these really hard things can make sense. Maybe it makes sense that this thing I don't want to be challenging is challenging. If I recognize like, oh, like if this is my forever work, if this is my permanent formless that'll keep turning into different forms and different forms, like, wow, of course all of my challenges are connected to that. Yeah, maybe I don't have to be so tied to the form right now because so much is in transition anyway for all of us. And when we do that, you know, someone I'm thinking of a lot in this moment, and I was thinking about this before I came on, is Hirsch Goldberg's parents, and how you could see that this experience of this like unimaginable tragedy for millions of people that this has been, how it like awakened this thing, because obviously many people are experiencing what they're experiencing, and like there's like a form that their journey of this with their son has taken and took, and a structure and a form that they created through that experience. Like it woke up clearly like a big part of their soul purpose and their impact in the world. And then the thing that they were trying to prevent, to keep in the formless, took form, the death of their son. And I just keep seeing how like they continue the form, you know, and I'm sure that's holding them in some way, but it's like, and there's going to be lots of trauma and grief work I'm sure they're doing and will have to do forever. But it's like, yeah, something woke up that is their forever work. And even though the form they were trying to prevent took place, the energy is now with them. The soul purpose they're here for is now with them. And now, like, here they are still in the work for everyone else who's still alive and possibly can be helped. So I was just thinking of that right before this. And really the idea of I can move beyond. I'm willing to see everything in my life as part of the greater story. I'm willing to understand everything that's changing form, everything that feels really murky and dark and secret. Like I'm willing to have approval for the fact that there's still shadow and secrecy and mystery to what's going on, and that it will take form. It will make sense at some point, even if I can't see it yet, which is also what faith is. And I'm noticing in a lot of the travel, I've been like traveling all these places really all year, but you know, this summer I'm just noticing how many people who have been in kind of like spiritual or personal growth communities are so connected to more traditional organized religion right now, particularly Jesus Christ, who has a powerful healing energy and was an ascended healer, powerful healer. And that's been like confronting, I think, for some people, or probably confusing for people who are realizing that's what feels true to me. And if that means that, what is all this other work I was doing? Like, I just noticed this kind of thing that's been happening. And to me, that's just like the thing, again, of like, we're looking for the thing that isn't so fragile, that can't change form in a second. And I think there's so many like just earthly human forms that we insist have to stay a certain way and just can't on this constantly transforming planet and dimension that we're in. And so I think there's just this like calling of like wanting to have something you can ground into that feels like it will be permanent. And I think what that looks like is different for everyone. And I think this is a moment to maybe ask yourself, like, where's a place where when I'm there, I can just ground in and like trust the bigger thing. So for some people, organized religion, meditation, nature, yoga, prayer, I don't, like these are things. For me, it's the Akashic records. That for me is like an energy that came through the fire with me and is like still the mentor for me in this lifetime, is that energy. Hi, Vanessa. Hey, Ariel. Yeah, so these are some of the, hey, Lauren, these are like the energies I'm seeing weave through. So if you're just joining, it's like we're in this time that's about form and formless. And like this Pisces full moon energy is very much about the formless and about the dream world and the spirit world. And what I'm seeing is like how quickly forms are changing for people. Forms they want to be a certain way, forms they were hoping wouldn't take place in their life, like the earthly dimensional forms. Forms they expected to go a certain way and aren't. And like this is a time to really get comfortable with mystery and the invisible and the formless, because that's actually the permanent thing. And this is a time to understand, like, we're on such a mission here as a transformative group of people who are creating the legacy of the planet at this time, that we are here to finally connect with our permanent work, our permanent formless work, the energy that is ours to be connected to through this whole lifetime that will change form many times. And so some of us are recognizing the thing I'm part of is not that. Some of us are recognizing, oh, like I'm with it. Like this is it. I can commit to being connected to this energy and this mission for the rest of my life. Like I'm willing to have lifelong commitment to this, even if the forms are not always in my preference, even if the forms are not always what I expect. And I'm willing to also get big enough and get comfortable enough with receiving to have the forms in their greatest way, to have the grandest, greatest, most positive, most impactful versions also. Not just like I'm willing to be in the shit because I'm committed to this energy, but also like I'm willing to be seen and be visible and be successful. Hey, Madeline. So that's the energies that we're weaving with for September. And before we complete, I just want to drop in with us. So if you're watching now or watching in the recording, just dropping in again. Beginning to breathe in some possibility. Just the energy of possibility. That there is something in the formless underway right now that is going to support our world collectively and individually. Just breathing in that possibility. Letting possibility to be like become like a color or an image. Thanks, Bonnie. And breathe it in. Where do you need possibility in your body right now? Breathing it in. Exhaling out. Letting it relax your shoulders, letting it soften the base of your spine, letting your pelvis and the sexual center of your body open and relax. And just let yourself rest in the energy of possibility. in the formless, in how it might take form, in the idea of faith, that there is a possibility that miracles are happening that go beyond the form of our political government structures, the earthbound structures, that there is a form, something that is still in the formless that could come down into form at any moment and just transform your experience of reality. Breathing that in, exhaling out, letting that come into the crown of the head, relax down through the body, the face. And then let's just try this. See if you can connect to the permanent formless energy in your life, to the frequency that if you track it back, like, oh, this is what my life has always been about. Even if you're not sure what that is yet, maybe that's the path you're on, is working towards knowing that. But maybe you do know it. Let that become a color, an image. Let the frequency become something you can like hold. First thought, best thought. And when you're ready, just seeing it as a color, an image, maybe a word. And then when you're ready, breathing that in. Exhaling out. Letting that go into the lower belly. Up into the heart. Through the lungs, clearing and releasing. And just sit for a second with the energy, with the purpose, with the formless, permanent mission you're here on. That will take so many forms. And some of them you're going to get a lot of external validation for, and some of them you're going to get fucking none. And it doesn't matter. It all evens out in the wash. You can have the life you want. You can receive a lot of wonderful things from this. And also it's like, it's not always going to be great and awesome feeling. And that's the truth of any commitment, right? That's why commitment is a big deal. And so just feel yourself sitting with the energy of the permanent frequency you're going to be with, you're going to ride with through this life, and maybe others, and maybe you already have through other lives. Breathing that in, sitting with that. And in your mind's eye, just seeing you sitting across from you. Maybe it's your higher self. Maybe it just looks like you. And just in your mind's eye, look into your own eyes and just, are we doing this? Are we willing to ride with this energy and trust we're supposed to be in the world right now? Trust we are part of the transition phase the world is in right now. Trust we get to take this as big as it's supposed to be. We get to be supported and let the forms change, and be willing to let the rug get pulled out from under us if actually the form needs to change. And we're just knowing that we have ourselves and we have this energy, and we are going to take this ride. And just in your mind's eye, see your own eyes, see yourself, make the decision, like, are we doing this? And then just breathing that in frequency in of like really getting into relationship with you. Breathing that in. Exhaling out into the third eye, down through the face. And just sitting with that, beginning to really feel your feet on the floor. Maybe wiggle your toes. Coming back into the space, rolling the wrists and the hands. Maybe just putting your hands on your heart or on your throat, on your chest. You've got you. And just letting yourself really connect with what you've received here. Maybe you'll write about it, but it's a nice way to come into this week where we're going to change seasons, we're going to change phases. The light and the shadow are going to kind of, because we're in an eclipse. Certain things are going to be revealed, and guess what? Certain things are not going to be revealed, and that's okay too. That was a big message for someone this week I worked with. It was like, it's okay to have secrets. It's okay. Like, we don't have to take a flashlight into everything all the time to be safe, to get the healing. But now you maybe revealed something to yourself, a connection to like what you are committed to. Maybe you don't know what it is, but you just feel it. You can feel it because it's in the formless. And it's probably, of course, in your life in many forms with your relationships and your work and like the beautiful ways you add to our world. And and the things that remind you of your greatness is what I'm feeling here. Like there's things in our life that remind us of our greatness, and that's connected to this energy that you're committed to through this lifetime. So the mantra I just feel as we're closing is just like, I'm willing to move beyond this, and I will move beyond this, and I can move beyond this. And that goes for the things we really want to stay the same way and the things we feel desperate to have change. We will, and we're willing to move beyond and willing to let this go where it really needs to be. So that's what I was feeling today. I'd love to hear if you're open to sharing like what came through for you there, or like what you're feeling right now, or where you find that permanent feeling of like faith. Like, is there something that's always been that for you? Maybe it's like dance, movement, I don't know, but just like where can you find it so that we can remind ourselves in the moments where it feels like everything's fucked or unknown or stuck, right? Like, where's the place that helps us go to the formless? And there's all types of practices for that. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me on this Sunday Eve. And, we'll be in touch again soon. And if you have any questions about what this work looks like one-on-one or in a group or connecting with the Akasha and as a mentor for you as well, feel free to reach out. Yes. Oh, that's so cool. Feeling grounded, excited to start recording loved ones for people. Yeah, tell me more about that. What does it look like? I know you do photography and maybe also video. So I'd love to hear more about that. But that's your work, reflecting love and connection. Letting people see, what I'm feeling for you is like letting people see themselves the way others see them, like through the eyes of love in that way. All right. Have a beautiful night. Nice to be here with you all, and we'll talk soon. Bye. Ooh, before I end, I love that. Yes, I love that, Bonnie. Love you too. Bye.